Imagine showing someone undeniable proof, facts, screenshots, evidence, logic, and instead of changing their mind, they become even more defensive. They argue harder, they hate you more, they cling tighter to the lie. Why? Because the human mind doesn't always protect truth. Sometimes it protects identity. This is called the backfire effect, one of the darkest psychological traps in human behavior. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. In relationships, politics, religion, social media, friendships, even inside your own mind. Tonight, we're diving deep into the terrifying psychology of why humans often reject truth, and how the backfire effect silently controls lives, destroys relationships, and manipulates entire societies. The backfire effect is a psychological phenomenon where people react to evidence against their beliefs, by believing those beliefs even more strongly. Read that again carefully. Not changing, not questioning. Becoming more convinced they are right. Why? Because when a belief becomes emotionally attached to a person's identity, attacking the belief feels like attacking the person. The brain interprets disagreement as danger, and when humans feel psychologically threatened, logic shuts down, emotion takes control. That's why arguing online almost never changes people. That's why toxic people defend their behavior even when caught. That's why some people stay loyal to harmful ideologies, abusive partners, fake gurus, or manipulative leaders, even after seeing the truth. The mind says, if I admit I was wrong, then who am I? And for many people, protecting the ego feels safer than accepting reality. This effect becomes dangerous when manipulators learn how to exploit it, because once someone emotionally commits to something, they become easier to control. Cults know this, abusers know this, propaganda machines know this. The more emotionally invested people become, the harder it is for them to escape. That's why scammers don't start with huge lies. They begin with small emotional commitments, a little trust, a little loyalty, a little belief. Then slowly, the victim builds their identity around the illusion. And once identity is involved, truth becomes the enemy. This is why some people defend toxic relationships even while suffering inside them. You show them the red flags, they defend the abuser. You warn them, they attack you instead. Not because they're stupid, because accepting reality would destroy the emotional world they built in their head. The backfire effect also destroys friendships and families. People become addicted to being right. They stop listening, stop learning, stop growing. Their ego becomes a prison. And social media made this even worse. Algorithms reward outrage. The more emotionally triggered someone becomes, the more deeply they attach to their beliefs. Eventually, people stop searching for truth. They only search for validation. And once that happens, the mind becomes programmable. But here's the twist most people never talk about. The backfire effect is not always negative. Sometimes, it protects people from manipulation. Think about it. If humans change beliefs instantly every time someone pressured them, society would become psychologically unstable. People would be manipulated constantly. The backfire effect creates mental resistance. It helps humans defend deeply held values, culture, faith, purpose, and identity. That's why confidence can sometimes survive criticism. That's why resilient people don't collapse every time someone doubts them. The effect can strengthen discipline, strengthen loyalty, strengthen self-belief. Sometimes the world tells people, you're weak, you'll fail, you can't do it. But instead of breaking, they become stronger. That is also a form of psychological backfire. Pain becomes fuel, criticism becomes motivation, rejection becomes power. Some of the strongest people alive were built from opposition. The same psychological mechanism that traps some people can also create unstoppable resilience in others. The difference is awareness. The hardest thing a human can say is, maybe I'm wrong, because ego hates uncertainty. But growth begins where certainty ends. Smart people don't protect beliefs, they test them, they question themselves, they stay emotionally detached from opinions. That's true psychological power. The moment your identity becomes fused with an idea, you lose the ability to think clearly. That's why emotionally intelligent people listen more than they speak. They observe, they analyze, they ask questions before defending conclusions. And manipulators hate people like that, because awareness breaks emotional control. So next time someone disagrees with you, don't react instantly. Ask yourself, am I defending truth or protecting my ego? And if you ever feel angry when confronted with facts, pause for a moment. That anger may not be intelligence. It may be fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of losing identity, fear of changing. Because sometimes, the most dangerous prison in the world is a belief we refuse to question. The backfire effect explains why people stay trapped in lies, why societies become divided, why manipulation spreads so easily. and why truth alone is often not enough to change minds. Because humans are not purely logical creatures. We are emotional creatures, desperately trying to protect the stories we tell ourselves. The question is, are your beliefs helping you grow, or silently controlling your life? And more importantly, if the truth challenged your identity tomorrow, would you accept it? Or would your mind backfire against reality itself?